Harvard formally bans boning your students and vice versa if you're a student boning your professor. All right, so this is an official policy that Harvard has enacted. They've taken the stance. They say, we're using this opportunity to reaffirm our priorities as teachers and to imagine what we're seeing when we're looking at these students and what we're not seeing. We're not seeing potential romantic partners. We are seeing students. And they shouldn't have said we're seeing students. You know, because that's, you know, are we seeing students? Is it monogamous? We don't know. So basically, originally, this is a history, give you a little history. Originally, there were no policies. Institutions wouldn't go near it, just wanted to avoid pushback from faculty. We've come a long way from that time. There are many institutions that have what I personally would describe as very weak policies. So Harvard, they say Yale, some other Ivies are coming forward and having this official stance that you cannot have sex with your students. And one of the quotes that, I don't think we need to read every quote, but one of them was, we don't want to be having sex with other people's children.
Oh.
I was shocked to find out there was any sex happening at Harvard. You know what I mean?
Anytime you have sex, you're having sex with other people's children.
That's such a devastatingly good point that it almost ends the conversation.
I know.
So, first of all, there's a lot of really interesting elements here. It turns out that most of the colleges don't have this policy in place, which I'm very surprised by. I would have thought, if you'd asked me, like, does Harvard and all these other colleges have a policy where the professors can't fuck the students? I would have said yes. Turns out the answer is no. And it turns out the answer is no because there's pushback from the faculty because they wanted to fuck the students.
Yes.
Isn't that really, really interesting?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, decades of that. They've been trying to talk about this for years, literally decades of trying to help put a bright line between faculty and students, because, of course, here you have a professor who is in charge of your grades, who's in charge of whether you advance further in a class or in a degree program, and that's a huge opportunity for sexual harassment, for somebody to basically mess up your life.
You got to be able.
That option.
I don't think we're gonna lose good quality people going into the professor profession if they can't have sex with their students, right? It's just like if you become a cop and you can't run a red light, who's going to want to become a fucking cop, right? That's one of the big perks, right? You want to be able to do that shit. You want to be able to bang your students. That's the only reason I'd want to become a professor.
Yeah, and they're grown-ups. I get it. You can't have sex with like 15-year-old super boys. Like, I get that.
Yeah, but
these are adults.
These are adults.
Is it that you can't have sex with your student?
Yeah.
Like,
somebody you have a direct relationship over?
A former student still in college? God, I hope that's under protection.
So it actually is more nuanced. It is more nuanced. So first of all, you can't have sex with your students under any circumstances, according to this new policy, even if they're graduate students, etc. Second of all, you can't have sex with undergrads. Okay. But if they're a graduate student and they're not your student, then apparently you still can have sex with them.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so
as long as you're not directly supervising them.
Yes, right. Now, the reason that we didn't have these policies in the past, for all those decades that Desi mentioned, is because we had largely male professors. And they were like, not so interested in this policy, right? Now we have more female professors, and all of a sudden they're like, hey, what are you looking at the girls for, you pervs, right? But I disagree with her on one of the things where she says, you're not supposed to see the students in that way. Okay, listen, you can tell me not to have sex with them, but you can't tell me what to think and what's in my head,
what
right?
To see.
Right, so hey, you back off on what I'm allowed to see, right? And so yes, everybody in college is above age, they're adults. Now, here's an interesting argument, where the students then turn around and go, wait, I'm not a kid, you're not my parents, right? If I'm 21-year-old junior and I want to have sex with my TA who's 27 and a hot guy or girl or whatever it is, butt out of my life, right? And so don't baby me. I'm going to Harvard and I'm a grown-ass man, woman, etc. So that's an interesting argument too, all right? On the other hand, I say, do we really want the professors having sex with their students?
Right, but that's not the policy. The policy isn't the alternative of this policy is not teachers, you must fuck your students. The alternative,
just pick one, anyone will do. Okay, it doesn't really matter.
So what you're saying, the 21-year-old having sex with the 26-year-old TA, not only should you be allowed to do that, you should be allowed to receive the applause you deserve after you accomplish that goal.
So now I'm gonna make an interesting counter argument here to this rule. Okay, one of the reasons that they passed the rule is people are really worried about power disparity, right? So okay, now there's a super legitimate part of that. If you are somebody's boss, you're somebody's professor, you hold some degree of power over them because you can give them a good grade, a bad grade, you can fire them, you can keep them. So there's a ton of logic there, right? Now, when people take it a little too far and they say, well, there's a general power disparity. That professor is not teaching that student, but he is a professor, so he is powerful, and that power disparity corrupts the relationship. I totally disagree with that, okay? So, and it's like saying, well, now for men, there is an attractiveness disparity here, okay? She's really hot and you're not. So this level of disparity makes the relationship unequal. So we can't have that. Obviously you're having sex with her because she's so goddamn hot, right? So to say you can't have sex with a boss, a professor, is something, oh, but there's a power disparity. Yeah, I mean, that's what guys got, right? And that's life, right? I mean, one of the things that guys have is, you know, women are attracted to some degree of power, and if you've accumulated a little bit of power, I would say more power to you. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes, which is why, you know, in their 50s, George Clooney is still considered the leading sex symbol in Hollywood right now, and Brad Pitt, they're in their 50s, and Tom Cruise, they're all in their 50s. They're women that doesn't work the same way. So there's different things that are attracted. Women are attracted to older men with money who are successful and have power. That's a thing that, you know, and men are attracted to young women who are fertile. Goes back to unconscious. This isn't conscious thinking. This is billions of years of evolution, right? So that's why. So they're trying to override evolution with a rule and saying, well, you can't look at them that way. You can't fucking. You're talking Mother Nature. You can't tell me. It's not me. This is 5 billion years of evolution looking at him that way.
But it's also backed up by
This isn't me. I'm not even looking at him that way. It's 5 years of evolution.
I am.
It's a
not me.
caveman back here looking at him.
This urge doesn't come from me. It comes through me.
Right.
Well, it winds up somewhere.
This is the universe throbbing to be free.
Yeah, but
I mean, this is put in to protect students. I mean, there are predatory professors out there. I had a few myself, so I'm all for this. So, I have a hard time.
Did you ever have to rebuff some professors?
Yeah.
Really? That's
Yes.
super interesting. See, that's why everybody's perspective is really important and interesting. So did they talk about grades at all, or no? It was far more subtle.
Well, I'm not going to talk specifics because there are people involved. So anyway, I would just say that, yeah, there were some opportunities that I was offered and I had to very politely decline, and it never went further than that. But the fact that it was actually even a question, you know, I didn't ask for this, and then suddenly it's like, oh, wow, okay, this person that I thought of as a father figure and somebody who was interested in guiding me and making sure that, you know, I got what I needed to have the best college experience possible, was not interested in what was best for me.
No, I'm going to pretend I
get
work
that.
for CNN. So why don't you just gain weight?
That's what Don Lemon
would say. You're getting hit on by these professors. Why don't you just get fat and unattractive?
Oh my God. So yeah, I think that it's necessary to have these rules in place because people do need to have a bright line that says, no, please don't do that.
So that's a super interesting point because Desi's flipping our argument on its head, which is we are humans. We do have 5,000 years of this baggage in our head. So we might want to set some rules so that guy doesn't come out.
Because
that
really
caveman
clear.
hiding back there, you know, yeah, he has urges. To Brett's point, some of them are not positive.
If I had a daughter in college, maybe I would be for this rule. Yeah, I probably would be for this rule.
Well,
if
if
I had
it
a
was
daughter
your
in college.
wife at work and somebody was doing that to her,
Yeah, I'm probably for this rule.
so you know.
I like that you stick to your guns there, Jimmy.
I like how Jimmy totally flipped on that.